competing for the title, I don't see a pathway for success for a long time. We have not improved over the last couple of years. I think we've even stagnated. We finished 12th last year, fair enough, we're 9th now. But there's not been any progress, and I don't see it happening anytime soon.
I think you're a top half team now. Europa League next year, maybe. Hunt for Conference League, Europa League, top half now.
That's a tough one. But I was just
don't know if they can play in the Europa League. I mean, I know that the FFP, they're probably going to avoid profit and sustainability losses, but they're 157% overspending to be able to qualify and play under this new 70% rule in Europe. So honestly, like with Chelsea, they might make Europe. That might be the worst thing for them next year financially. So I think they're better off avoiding it, if I'm being honest. But sorry, Gal, you were going to say something, brother.
I was just going to say Chelsea's only way of success is going back to signing some win now players, because with all the experience, with the young players that you have, you need at least a couple sprinkles of experienced players that can help guide these players through. So you can't wait until Cole Palmer turns 25, 26 for your team to be ready to win now. You need a couple key pieces. Now that Thiago Silva is potentially leaving, you got Conor Gallagher leaving also in the summer potentially. You're going to have a lot of these players, maybe even Chilwell or Reece James leave in the summer. You need more experienced players to come in. And if those experienced players can be match winners and game changers, that are already at the top level, you could see yourself rise up quite quickly. It's just the quality that you sign can no longer be 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds. It needs to be game changers, winners, and people who've been at the top level.
But Igal, if I'm being honest with you, I don't see that happening anytime soon. I don't know if you guys are aware, our wage bill is capped now at 150k a week. So in terms of signing the creme de la creme top players, that's not happening. Arsenal offer higher wages. Havertz is the highest earner in your team.
Do you think they're going to change that, though? Do you think they'll change that for the likes of... Because you guys are linked to, like, Victor Osimhen. You're linked to Ivan Toney today. Those guys aren't signing for £150,000 a week. So do you think Clear Lake are going to break that rule in CB? Because the likes of, like, Chairs and Don in the group chats think it will be broke. A lot of Chelsea fans online think it's nonsense. Like, what's your response to that?
Initially, I thought so. I thought we was planning to change that. We tried to do a campaign on Chelsea Twitter called #ChangeTheModel, where we was we're talking about the impact on the model and so forth. It did okay. Simon Phillips reported that the model has been changed. However, Ornstein has come back and rebutted that and said, actually, I have not heard anything of the model changing. And quite frankly, those upstairs are actually happy with what they've done with the model, because the standout players have come from that model. The under 25s, young players, for example, Cole Palmer, our best player on the team, is on a 75k a week. He's nowhere near the highest earners. He's here for the 8 years. It's just, I don't see us getting any top players without any Europe, and we're not offering high wages. That's just not happening. And I've come to terms with that. I've gone through all the emotions of realizing this situation. I was on the super deluded, oh yeah, bring me this player, we're gonna do this and that. And now I've really understood what the situation is. Until big changes get made, our fan base using our voices, or an absolute top gaffer comes and performs a miracle, we're stuck here for a good 3-4 years, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, throwing that out to Patrick. I mean, if they can't sign players on more than 150k a week, I know it's a lot of money to you and me, but that even limits you in terms of, in a year's time, if Cole Palmer repeats this season again, there's no way he's sitting there without his agent pushing for a bigger contract, because he's going to have every club in the world, if he has 2 seasons at this level, saying, we'll pay you $250 million a week, 300 grand a week. And then Chelsea could be in a situation, not only are they not signing top players, but their better players then get disgruntled because they're on these long 8-year deals, and now they can get 300 grand if they leave. And couldn't that create even more problems for Chelsea, Patty?
Yeah, 100%. Cole Palmer being on 75k is madness, but it makes sense in a sense of he needed to get away from City. He needed regular game time. Chelsea are an established and a good club by name and tradition. So 75k for a youngster is decent. But if he's having the season he's having now and he knocks on the door and says, I need at least 150, you have to give it to him. And then obviously say, for example, I don't know, Enzo, theoretically, or Caicedo, or whoever has another good has a good season, and then they start knocking on the door and saying, no, we need, you've given Cole Palmer 200k, I need this, that. It just creates uncertainty and disgruntlement behind closed doors or in the dressing room. But The thing is, everything that CB says is bang on. Like, to attract the top players without Champions League football and without European football, you need to pay the money. The good thing for Chelsea is that they are an established team. They're in London. They come with the glitz and the glamour and the history. So as long as the coach that they have can sell the player the project, they can probably get one up on other clubs in and around that position. You know, the 7th, your 8th, your 9th. But it's tough because the top clubs is in the top 3: Chelsea, Arsenal, City, and Liverpool are streets ahead in terms of wage structure, managers. Maybe not. We'll see what happens with Arne Slot, but typically, and obviously Arteta, and their process where they are, the football they play. So there's a lot that a player's going to look at. But a young player who's obviously just kind of caught the attention of the bigger clubs and needs a platform, Chelsea is a good place to go to, as long as you don't sign a crazy contract. Because if Cole Palmer's on
Palace, bro,
you are not for a good player. If you're a good player,
Chelsea's a healthy environment. Come on.
It depends. If at the end of the day, if you're a good player and you can obviously just buckle down and not get distracted, as in Gusto and Palmer, you can do what you need to do.
It's good for
as
you.
Long as you're guaranteed minutes.
Patrick, you see what the problem is? You see what the problem is? You look at the players that we have signed from the outside looking in. For starters, you're a director. I've given you £1 billion budget. At the end of the day, I say what I say about the owners for the model, whatever. I've given you a £1 billion budget. You didn't target the creme de la creme under 25s. Rodrigo, Vinny Jr., Jude Bellingham, Musiala, Declan Rice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The best of the best under 25s. You didn't do that, but you paid a premium price for these players. Now, what my first red flag when I realized these players might not be as good as I thought they were, because if you're being signed for 100 million and you're getting slapped on an 8-year deal, why are you accepting 120k a week or 150k a week and you're a marquee £100 million signing? What we're paying for at the end of the day is what we're what we're receiving is what we shopped for. For example, Jackson missing sitters in the FA Cup semi-final. Shocker, we spent 30 million on a Villarreal striker. Second striker.
30 million, sorry to cut your CB, but 30 million for Jackson is a bit different to a Caicedo. With a Caicedo and an Enzo, you paid for future potential and you bet big, hoping that they would reach the level that they've shown in some games. At the moment, it's not stood. Cole Palmer's a great one because he has essentially not the level. Obviously, he can still get better and better, but he's already shown a level where most people say, you know what, we can see what he's about. But you've bet big and you've put all your chips on the table. So you just better hope and pray these ones come off.
But what CB's saying, I didn't even think about it from that angle. Yes, you pay big money for these players and their potential. You're right, Patty. But then the wages you're giving them are not reflective. If you went to Real Madrid now, what's the name of that young Brazilian they just bought? Enric. So if you went to them now and you worked out a transfer fee to bring him over to the Premier League, you know that to do that and take him away from Real Madrid, you're going to have to pay him 200, 250, 300 grand a week. If you went and got any of the other young, like if you went and got Mbappe when he was 18 or 19, if you look how much Jude Bellingham's getting paid, who's still only very, very young. How old is Jude Bellingham now? I want to say he's 20. I could be wrong.
20, 21 max.
20. You look at the money that he's earning, the creme de la creme young players are asking for a lot more than 75,000, 80,000, 100,000 pound a week. I never even thought about it from that. I know they've got long 8-year deals, etc. But yeah, it's an interesting one. But
Terry, Enzo's on 180. Enzo's on 180. Cancedo's on 150. So they're probably on the higher end of these players.
The higher end, yeah, and that's pretty high. But that's also why when I hear people say I don't judge Enzo on his market value, I judge him on like on his transfer fee. I'm like, but if you pay any young player, the thing with Enzo is he ain't that young either. Like Enzo's one of the guys I don't look at as a young player. He's 23, turning 24, and he's played 200 games in his career. That's not a young player. That's not an inexperienced young player. He's probably the higher end of that. But yeah, Chelsea's situation looks mad. There is a report today that you are looking at a new goalkeeper, Jordan Pickford, CB. Jordan Pickford coming in.
Don't forget
you know, I saw that and almost threw up, this morning. I saw that and I was sick to my stomach. Where have we fallen as a football club? Well, okay, we came from the likes here of having 8 national team captains in our starting 11. Courtois and Checkers are number 1 and number 2 to Jordan Pickford, bruv. At what point do we call this stuff out? And do you know why this is happening? Why we're being linked to so many, like, for example, the Jack Grealish links have been coming out. Jordan Pickford, Aaron Ramsdale. Because Conor Gallagher's leaving the club, this as Chelsea fans, you guys want Sterling sold, you want Gallagher sold, you want Chilwell sold, all English internationals. There's homegrown rules in Premier League clubs for a certain amount of homegrown players you need to have. If we know Gallagher's leaving, so now we need to replace him with an English international. Here comes the Jordan Pickford links, the Ramsdale links, the Grealish links, and everyone's upset. Oh, why are we not signing this guy? Oh, why not Musiala? Musiala's German. You know what I'm saying? Xavi Simons is from Netherlands. This isn't going to happen.
Just that, why would, if you're Musiala, right, and you're one of the best talents in world football, why on earth would Chelsea, what are we doing here? Like, Chelsea are never going to sign a Musiala in the state they're in right now.
Like, any player with ambition join Chelsea at the minute. Any ambition for success on the football pitch is not at Chelsea in the next 5 years. Thanks. Ambition for financial security and ambition for ensuring that you get paid a big bag for a long time, despite not having to do anything. That's why you go Chelsea. They'll give you an 8-year contract, no worries. If your ultimate end game is to just earn £100 a week, regardless of whether you're playing well or not, Chelsea's the place to go. But any young player with aspirations of achieving anything in football within the next 3-4 years, Chelsea is not the place to go because it's not built for winning. Like you said, Teddy, they're not even going to qualify for Europe, so European success isn't going to happen.
So are you saying could Chelsea turn into the next Everton?
Drag. Why'd you say, Egal? Remember that you guys are on a longer trophy.
No. I'm being
Arsenal fans start to like it a bit too much.
Everton's a bit mad. Like Everton's a bit mad.
Based on how you guys are speaking, how they're going to struggle to get managers that have quality, how they have a lot of players on high wages, and they might find themselves into a situation.
We don't have high wages.
Could this new ownership drag them to a situation where they turn into the next Everton based on the financial situation that they're going to have right now? Plus, if they don't sell a bunch of players, it could get worse. Going on to the next few seasons, I just see their quality of players getting worse every year. I haven't seen them improve.
I mean, listen, if you're talking about the Everton of the late 80s, early 90s and what they've become, I maybe wouldn't go that far in the sense of Chelsea look right now like they look through most of the Premier League era before Roman, where they've become a cup team. Like that's what I know. They haven't won any of these cups, but that's what Chelsea were good at. In my youth, Chelsea were that team that were they were never rubbish in the league. They could always give the big teams a good game. They would finish anywhere between sort of 4th and 8th, if my memory serves me right. But they would have a number of really good cup runs. That's where I don't think Chelsea will drop below that at this point. The only time they could go the route that Gal's talking about is if all this financial stuff goes wrong and there's big points deductions or anything along those lines.